If silence is golden, then treasure seekers need seek elsewhere. For here's one golden oldie that will never be silenced. James Whale on JamesWhaleRadio.com.
James Whale. James Whale.
James Whale on JamesWhaleRadio.com.
Hi, Whaley's on all round town and across the world on the web here on JamesWhaleRadio.com. Nice to have you with us again this evening for the podcast, and I'm not going to be on here for hours and hours tonight. Normally I don't do anything on a Friday, do I? But whilst we're getting the site up and running, it's always good to let you know what's going on. I'm going away for the weekend, I think, actually. I'm going to go and have a little rest somewhere and escape the phones, which haven't stopped ringing, I tell you. Ever since this news story broke, and I've tried to keep out of the way and not say anything at the moment, everybody seems to have their opinion. But I just want to make one thing clear that doesn't seem to have come across. I have absolutely no animosity towards talk. I've spent 13 years of my life working there. I'll have some very good friends there, and I am, of course, missing my conversations with the listeners every night, and my interaction with people. It's like having you might have read Melinda's blog this week. It's like having part of your family cut off. I mean, she likes the fact I'm around all the time, I must admit, but I do miss it. I have no animosity. I mean, I don't know why they did this to me, but there we are. I'll have to, fullness of time, I suppose, things will become evident.
Have your say. Call us now on 0871 0500 818.
There's a lot going on, isn't there, at the moment? The world's falling apart. I mean, the credit crunch is getting worse and worse. I noticed that a quarter of MPs now have their relatives on public payrolls. You know, I'm supposedly showed preference to one political person. But you listen, regular listeners to my show know that when I say things, most of what I say is tongue in cheek, and that I think I reflect what people think and the views people have. But maybe it is. Maybe, you know, things in this country are getting difficult. Freedom of speech is getting difficult. Rules and regulations are being levied here so that we have very little chance of speaking our minds. You know that the anti-terrorist legislation brought in means that, you know, if people gather together to demonstrate within a kilometre of the House of Commons, you can be locked up.
James Whale on JamesWhaleRadio.com.
Lots of people wondering why the police shot this guy in Chelsea the other night. He was shot 3 times. You know, obviously he was causing a lot of trouble, but they had the whole house surrounded. There was no way anybody else was going to get injured. Questions will be asked then. The more I read about Sir Ian Blair, the more I realise that he has to actually face his critics at some time. I mean, surely these are the important things. Surely the amount of politicians who are getting away with screwing us for as much as they can take, and let's face it, we're paying for it. And then, you know, the fact that the police have committed an incredible cock-up recently. Everybody seems to be more interested in what people are saying about politicians. Well, let me tell you that politicians, quite frankly, are beyond and beneath contempt, basically all of them. As I've said before, we need to be able to criticise them. They need to be answerable. And all this rubbish that they have now imposed on everybody has got to stop. You know, if you and I want to have a conversation about a politician, then that should be fine. They are a public servant. They're not there to tell you and I what to do. Getting on my nerves. I'm trying to get away from it for a while.
Have your say. Call us now on 0871 0500 818.
I know another thing that if I've been doing the show live tonight we'd be talking about, and that's the ASBO heading for the scrap heap, apparently, after the number being handed out fell by a third in a year. Listen, we know that ASBOs are completely and utterly useless. But the people who make the legislation, the politicians, have no idea. They say that they come out with some of the most ridiculous stuff, and they have no idea. So I'm fiddling around in my office as I speak to you, looking for different things I want to take away with me later. But there's no doubt in my mind that things are going to get better. Things must get better. I mean, the weather's good. I haven't heard one... Have you read any stories? I haven't seen anybody suggesting the good weather is just more evidence of global warming, because I think they realise that global warming is something that actually has now run its course, and that the people of this world, not just here in Britain, but those of you listening to me across the world, realise that global warming is a man-made idea. Climate change is a natural phenomenon. Global warming is a man-made idea.
James Whale on JamesWhaleRadio.com. If opinions count, this man must be a mathematical genius.